It's the middle of February. Things are very busy on dairy farms, plenty of cows calving every day. This week I went to David Gannon, who's the Teagasc Aurivo focus farmer for County Galway, and he walked me through his calving and calf rearing systems that he has in place and the protocols he has in place. It's a long watch, 10 or 12 minutes, but there's loads of details, really good tips and tricks, and I think there's something for everyone in this video. So grab a cup of tea, cup of coffee, sit on the couch and take in a few of the tips that David Gannon has to offer in terms of getting calves going and thriving.
So we have calving pad is just outside there. So basically that's the maternity shed for cows that are closer up to calving. There's 36 cubicles out there, and then we pick them out probably twice a day, 3 times a day. We go through them, pick out cows, put them on the pad. So there'll probably be up to 10 cows on the pad at once. We're checking them then. So once the cow's calf on the pad, cow licks the calf, we bring the calf into the baby shed here. So we've group pin, well, they're small pins set up here. We put up to 3 calves in a pin depending on how close together they are born, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's just where we do all the initial processing with them, or the initial work with them.
Okay, so calf comes in into a cleaned pen, or is it just...
So it's a brand new pen. So essentially after every batch of calves, or every calf leaves a pen here to go out to the group shed, it's cleaned out, disinfected, let to dry, and then rebedded with new straw.
Okay.
So there's generally no new calf will go in with the calf that's already here. These calves that are all together, they would have been born within 20 minutes or half an hour of each other. Okay. That's kind of the way it works.
So calf comes in, you've got your station up here then. What, will you explain this to me?
Yeah, so the first thing we do is just over this board here, John. So this is the calf pad, I suppose the record board. So we just record the dam numbers, that's the cow's number, and the date that she calved, the sex of the calf, any information then that is useful, I suppose, on the calf. So that was a red heifer calf, so just because 2 of them went into the same pin together, I think, so yeah, they were all born close enough. So just for me to differentiate them when I go tagging them, that's the calf's tag number, time they were born, and then who it was that recorded the information. So if I need to follow up, so that's some of the guys that work with me, my father, so if I need to follow up on, did that cow, how did she look calving, or was there any trouble, I can follow up with that person.
Very good.
Yeah.
Right, over here?
Yeah, tagging station. So here we have the box, so there's iodine and gloves. So like any cow that's been touched at all is gloves, and it's for the cow's protection and for our own, because lepto, salmonella, all that stuff, you know, if you have a cut in your hand, it's quite dangerous. All the cows, you have to wear gloves if you're going near a cow there at all. There are arm length gloves as well. Brits refractometers up here for colostrum testing. We have our tags, tagger, and then the genotype and tag, and the BVD tag there as well. Okay. So essentially it's all recorded, calf is tagged, iodine on the navel, and that's all done.
So how long do they spend in this shed then?
So it depends on how strong they are sucking.
Okay.
And how well they get a start on it.
So Joe, will you go through the
So I'll just step back for a second, right, for colostrum management, because that's probably the critical part straight away. So the cows get put up the crush, milked individually. Cows get an electrolyte drink. We see if it's a big calf or a hard calving. If it's a hard calving or a heifer that's very flagged, she'll get an anti-inflammatory drug straight away. So Flunixin, 25 ml. And that's just pain relief, and they're in withdrawal anyway for a few days, so it's the right time to give them, I think. Any cow that's kind of well over conditioned, that had a big calf, just like this calf here this morning, she was a 5th calver, she was quite fat, and the calf is heavy, it's a big calf, so I give her a calcium bolus as well. And then they're milked with the portable milker, so we only take max 5 litres off them. It's only just to get enough colostrum. They're stripped out, check them, milk the colostrum into the bucket, test it with the Brix refractometer, and then it's bottle fed to the calf. So we let them drink as much as they can, and then if they can't, top them up with the stomach tube.
Okay.
Yeah. Here too.
Okay. Let's go and look at the beastons here.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So this is just kind of the kitchen area, John. So this is some beastons that was surplus this morning. There's not a lot in it. There's only about 1.5 litres.
Okay.
So we into a Ziploc bag. into a cold bucket of water.
Okay.
So it keeps it cool so the bacteria doesn't build.
Yeah.
And then if I have a calf born and I want to get pieces in straight away, we have a soup kettle here. It's set to 40 degrees.
Yeah.
So just pop the lid off, dump the bag in.
Yeah.
And while you're getting the calf into the pin, etc., doing all that stuff, it'll be heated. It's very fast to heat through these bags.
Just in big Ziploc bags, and you've got your electrolytes made up, homemade electrolytes.
Yeah.
What's in them? Glucose.
So here it's on the front, right? So there's a half a tablespoon of low salt. So that's important because it's potassium in it.
Okay.
So it has to be low salt, not normal salt. There's 1 tablespoon of bread soda and 3 tablespoons of glucose. You mix that in 2 litres of warm water if the calf is off form. So generally, if there's a slow sucker second feed, they get an electrolyte in with the milk and a touch of warm water in with it.
Perfect. Okay, so let's look at how you feed the calves for the first couple of days in terms of what your what utensils you're using, I suppose.
Yeah. So I'll just show you first, right? So we use bottles with the peach teats on them for the initial feed if we can. We use a trusty tuber then for tubing the colostrum in, not to say any brands or whatever, but it works quite well. And then we move on to the milk bar individual feeders and the 3-head feeders. Depending on how close the calves are born together in the pen and that kind of thing, we'll use one of either. It's the same teat that's on the bigger feeders, so they get used to the same teat. And we use the individual feeders. Basically, so these 2 calves this morning, they would have had 2 individual feeders side by side. They were born yesterday, so this will be their 3rd feed in the pen today. So I just get them started on it. They'll get the taste of the milk, and then I'll walk away. And I'll try and get them to do it as best they can themselves. I won't go into the bottle if I can at all. Generally, if you give them half an hour with it, and I'll go and do other jobs or do the other bigger calves, when you come back, they've made a good attempt at getting a lot of it into them.
And you're not too concerned, even if the other calf gets more than one
once
they get their colostrum?
A little bit of competition is no harm for them. I know they've got all the colostrum they need. They've a belly full of colostrum. So then after that, it's, the training onto the milk bar is an important thing.
Perfect. And you've how many singular ones of these do you have?
I've only 2 singles and I have 3 triples.
Okay, so you when do you use the triples? Just depending on how many calves are in the pen?
And how many is in the pin, essentially, So if there's more than one in the pin, I'll just go in with the triples. Now this morning I went with 2 singles there, just I hadn't...
Cleaning these?
Yeah, so everything is cleaned in a Milton bath.
Okay, big blue barrel.
Big blue barrel, so we use sterilising fluid, Milton. It's not proper Milton, we just buy it in Teagasc or wherever it is,
Perfect. Lovely. How long did they spend here?
Probably 4 feeds would be the top of the job.
Okay. Here. And then it's off to another shed then. So this is
off to the bigger group pens,
And so this is the old milk and parlour that you've converted into
essentially, this is our old milk and parlour, So we just put in like cubicles for cows, basically slope floors, and then a passage that we can clean out.
Perfect.
And then everything's just kind of left to hand, so like everything's left back in the place here because you're kind of always in the zone then when you get in here. It's important.
Let's go and see the older calves then. Okay, David, we're short walk away, 5 or 10 yards from the baby calf shed. So what's the story here? These are older calves.
These are the older calves. So we put them into group pins. There's 15 per pin of stronger calves. We move them over from the baby shed, and once we have a pin filled to 15, we move on to the next pin then. They get fed in a group here then with the 20-head feeder. It's just a round feeder, so as I said, it's the same teats. So they're already trained onto the teat. There's a good bit of redundancy on it. There's 25% redundancy.
There's 20 teats and 15 calves.
15 calves. Okay. So they can sort themselves out quite well on it.
Okay. And then how long do you keep the calves in these pens?
It'll be at least 10 days in these pens to get the immunity from the rotavirus virus.
Okay, so they're getting transition milk in that period.
Transition milk for 10 days at least.
Okay. So after 10 days then what's the story?
So they'll move as a group onto the training pin for the auto feeder.
Right.
And they go on to powdered milk at that stage.
Vaccine?
So we do the BRSV vaccine before they move as well. So kind of day 9 or the day before we move them, we'll vaccinate them and then move them the next day.
Okay. Yeah. And I just see a few different types of breeds in here. Do you mix heifer calves, bull calves, beef calves?
Yeah, everything's mixed, yeah. So it's based on age and strength at the start. I'll probably sort them again on the auto feeder maybe into different groups or whatever, but for now it's just healthy calves and keep them moving, yeah.
Perfect. How often are you bedding down this?
This gets bedded every time we feed. Essentially, I top it up.
Okay.
And it just gives me a chance to walk around the back of them and check that they're all feeding as well.
Yeah, and fresh water and a little bit of starter concentrate as well.
Yeah, starter concentrate and a little bit of starter fibre as well.
Yeah. Lovely. Right, so David, you're milking once a day, is that correct?
Yeah, once a day, yeah.
So what do you do for warm milk?
So my father is very creative. He came up with this kind of solution for us. So this is for heating tar barrel, underneath it there.
Right, so it's a gas. It's effectively like you could put a massive wok or a big pot on it. Yeah,
basically.
I've seen them for sale in, say, Asian shops. You know, that sell different spices and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So we use it for heating tar. Dad in his own business. And then what he did was he just wired up this pump with a 90-degree elbow on it. So this just circulates the milk.
Yeah.
And he's just put a hanger on it here. So just as it's kept up off the bottom of the barrel here by about 1.5 inches or 2 inches.
Okay.
So basically it pulls the milk up and circulates it. So it's about
so you light this
5 or 7 minutes. Yeah.
With gas. Turn the pump on. And that heats up your...
Pump circulates it, and then one of these feeds the pin of 15.
Okay. Are you always using this?
No, I'm not. So it depends on how much transition milk I have. So we fill it into an IBC. If there's enough transition milk, sometimes it keeps itself warm.
Okay.
Otherwise, say now our transition mob is kind of shrinking a bit, so I'm milking them twice a day, sometimes to get a top of a warm milk in the evening for the calves.
Okay. Let's go and look at the once a day transition cow mob kind of system.
Perfect.
You have.